Hello, sweet friends! The Rory Gilmore sweater is on, and that's how you know it is fall, and we are here to talk about books. I read over 100 books a year. I love a book, but I especially love a book in the Burr months. And I'm here to recommend maybe some unconventional fall books, some cozy mysteries, some dark academia that perhaps you haven't heard of. So we are going to dive right on in to this cozy festive fall stack. And I want to start today with a book that perhaps most of you haven't heard of. This beautiful book is called A Frog in the Fall by Linnea Sterte. And just look at the binding, how neat this book is. And I love the spine of the sleeve as well. Her art style is just truly so beautiful and magical and whimsical. And this is the book. This is one of my most unique books on my bookshelf. I actually found this at Type Books in Toronto, which is an independent bookstore. And as I'm introducing these fall books, may I just say, support your local libraries, support your local independent bookstores. They need us now more than ever. We need people reading more books, gaining more empathy. This one was a little bit hard to find. And it is an illustrated story of a frog throughout the fall. It's all about seasonal, slow living and this frog making its journey with other critters and creatures. It tries to journey to the sea by winter. I can't even count the amount of times I have paged through this book. It just makes me feel so many big feelings. I love the art style. I love the message. Of course, it takes place in the fall and beyond. And while maybe unconventional for what you think of when you think of a fall read, this is one that I just can't recommend enough. So next I have A Study in Drowning. This is YA dark academia, and while perhaps doesn't necessarily take place in the fall, it's about these students at an architecture college and this very isolated project that only 2 students get to work on. And they go on this journey through the hillside into this seaside town to this big estate, this manor, and have to plan out how they can save it from essentially becoming one with the ocean and disintegrating into the cliff. I love this book. This just made me feel like Rory Gilmore sitting on a bench or by the tree waiting for class to start with her nose in a book. Another very magical read is A Fellowship of Bakers and Magic. And look at these beautiful plum colored sprayed edges that just scream autumnal. This book gave me all of the warm fuzzies. If you like The Spell Shop or The Enchanted Greenhouse by Sarah Beth Thirst, you will love this book. It's about this human in this magical world where there's elves and there's other types of magical beings, and in this world there is an upper hand, if you will, from the elves with extra magic that they can place upon their baking. But this one human, she can bake, and she finds herself with her found family in this magical baking competition. There's a underlying love story, but to me it was really a story of friendship and found family and the descriptions of the baked goods. If you love a cozy descriptor of cakes and pastries and teas and herbs, this is the book for you. Now it's part of a series. I haven't read the rest of the series yet. This was a gift for my birthday, but 5 stars. I just loved every magical moment through this book, and this with like an apple crisp candle lit in the background would be the perfect Sunday morning. Like I said, this is a bit of an unconventional fall cozy reading guide, and I am here to put you on to fall cozy mysteries. I have a hearty stack of them, and I'm very passionate about these books and the feelings they evoke. First, I want to share about Murder at the Pumpkin Pageant by Darci Hannah. I love this whole series. She has some that take place in Christmas, St. Patrick's Day, just seasonal joy in books. Now, when it comes to cozy mysteries, don't worry, they're not scary. That's why they're called a cozy mystery. The focus is more on the townspeople and interacting with one another and seeing that kind of drama unfold. Think of like a Hallmark cozy mystery movie. I was so lucky to thrift a copy of this after reading it at the library originally, and I just absolutely love this, and I love to revisit it every year. I love the dog on the front, who is a very important character in this series. This is about our main character who has a bake shop and lives in a lighthouse with her dog, and the lighthouse is haunted. The lighthouse is haunted and weird things are happening. This is perfect for perhaps October. It has some Halloween-y elements, ghost hunting, pumpkin carving, all of the wonderful elements that I want in a September-October read. And these read fairly fast. Usually cozy mysteries, yeah, are around 300 pages. It's not overwhelming. It even has recipes in the back. Pumpkin spice lattes, pumpkin pie martini, pumpkin scones with maple glaze. I love a book that includes the recipes of the baked goods and beverages that they're talking about throughout the story. Have I made any of them? No, but I could. And I like to have the option. Then we have Death by Hot Apple Cider by Alex Erickson, another one of my most favorite cozy mystery series. And in this we have Chrissy. Chrissy owns a bookstore cafe, an actual dream come true. This one takes place around Thanksgiving. So if you're in Canada, that happens in October, and I'm Canadian, so I really associate Thanksgiving with fall time. I know in the States it can feel a little bit more Christmassy, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. This one is just so much fun. There is a fall festival and someone is poisoned while bobbing for apples. And Chrissy takes it upon herself to be the little town detective, as most of the people do in these books, and to figure out what exactly was going on. I just think these covers of these fall cozy mysteries, they bring me a lot of happiness. So I'm sure you can imagine these are all the star of my bookshelves right now, full on display. And then I have a recommendation that I'm sure you've seen in some other fall TBRs and read lists, and it is In the Company of Witches and When the Crow's Away by Auralee Wallace. These have been described as Charmed meets Practical Magic meets Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and it is so true. I actually think I enjoyed When the Crow's Away even more than the first book, In the Company of Witches. It's just following this family of witches and following them through hardships and murders in their local towns that happen. They have familiars that they can talk to, magical green thumbs. I just love all of the elements in these books, and I'm very much so purposefully not telling you too much about what goes on in these books, because I think that's part of the magic of reading and picking up a fall book, is getting immersed in the world and not knowing what's going to happen. I don't even like to read the back of a book before I read a book. I do sometimes judge a book by its cover or by what someone that I trust or love or have loved their recommendations before has to say about it. Both of these are just perfect to be reading in the Burr months to give you that warm, cozy, magical, witchy feel. Now look at the cover of this one. This was the book of all books that started my love of cozy mysteries. This is Checking Out Crime by Laurie from the Bookmobile Cat Murder Mystery series. We have Eddie here, which is the rescue cat that our main character, who is a librarian that operates a bookmobile in her little town. Eddie is her rescue cat who joins her on the bookmobile and helps her solve crime and greet her customers. Everyone loves Eddie. Eddie always comes to help save the day. And I mean, this cover is just truly a work of art. It actually really matches my little thrifted crochet blanket in the background too. I'm sure you can tell this is a book that takes place in the fall time. Eddie and Minnie, our librarian, are driving around in the bookmobile and they see someone who's been a victim of a hit and run. And they follow this crime and help to solve it. I just love these. These feel like a warm hug in a book. And I always used to judge these little mass market paperbacks that are, you know, short and stout. Some have even been known to call these my grandma books. Well, the grandmas are onto something. I love these. This with a cup of like cinnamon chai rooibos tea, a fresh out of the oven Pillsbury pumpkin plate of cookies. I have very fond memories of reading this every fall. And lastly, I have one. I'm sharing one from my TBR. I'm gonna do a whole podcast episode on my TBR. I've read most of these books, but I thrifted this in the summer and can't wait to read it. It is Lord of the Wings. Which I absolutely love as a bird lover. I have read a couple other books in this series, and each book does indeed have a bird pun in the name. And from what I can tell, this involves a Halloween fall festival and a mystery that is taking place while she is helping to run this Halloween night festivities with scavenger hunts and people in costumes and witches and ghosts and goblins. So I am most definitely saving this for October in the prime of fall. And that is my fall reading list. That is what I like to reread every year, which I feel like, you know, it's a good book if you want to reread it and re-experience that magic and feel it again. Some books do not hit the same when you reread them, but these are my tried and true that just have that magical feeling. I am also so excited about my new fall puzzle, which I placed back here so that I would remember to show you. How absolutely darling does that look? And I thought this would be perfect on my bookshelf because they kind of designed the side of it to look like a book spine. Ideally, I like my puzzles to be 500 pieces or less so that they're enjoyable and they don't stress me out too much, and they're hard to find. So I was so elated to find a fall puzzle within my wheelhouse of pieces. Anywho, that is my fall reading recommendations. I am so excited to hear if you've read any of these, if you're going to read any of these, and what you recommend, because I have not, as of right now, fully fleshed out my fall TBR and what I'd like to read. I have one from the library, one hold that came in, which is Death by Pumpkin Spice Latte by Alex Erickson, same author as this book, but I don't know where the wind will take me. I love fall. I want to read as much as I can and get lost in these magical worlds and fictional stories. I am so excited. My book club over on my Patreon, we are reading Shady Hollow by Gino Black, which is a cozy mystery told from the point of view of woodland critters, from foxes and ravens that own bookshops, full of magic and whimsy. And we're reading Twilight in October, which just is perfect. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a very magical, bookish fall full of reads that are familiar and new. I am just so excited that the most wonderful time of year is here, and I'm so happy to have you here with me. So I am going to go cozy on up with a book, maybe a puzzle, a cozy movie, and I will see y'all in a week or two.